have a great panel here today, and we're going to be speaking about different financial tips and things that we've learned for our own personal success, things that we kind of implemented and learned along the years. And once again, we have a great, broad, diverse panel. I'll go ahead and introduce everyone and give them an opportunity to just share a few words of introduction. I'll start with our founder, Mr. Michael J. Vance Sr., is where I get my name from, in case anyone is unaware. But Dad, Mr. Vance, how should I refer to you?
All of the above.
Welcome everyone.
Yeah, all of the above. I want to thank the Lord for being here today. It's really an honor to be able to share this ministry, stewardshipofwealth.com. And we've been doing this for a while. We started in 2004. Patricia Hughes and I and our Honey Bats and Associates wanted to find a way that we can help young professionals specifically make wise decisions with their money. And so we decided to come together and start this ministry doing workshops in our community. And then as we begin to grow, as social media began to take prevalence into the marketplace, we started to use social media as a platform to share this message. And so far, we've been able to touch a lot of lives over the years, since 2004. So we've touched a lot of lives, 20 years of doing this. Again, I want to thank my panel again for this opportunity for sharing. And again, it's really an honor just to be here.
Thank you. Next, I'll allow my mother, Mrs. Ardella Vance, to say a few words of introduction as well.
Well, I am Ardella Vance, Mrs. Michael Vance, mother of Michael Vance Jr. And I happen to be here because I am related to the two of them. I do the best that I can. I handle a lot of our finances, the two of us together. And so I will be sharing some things that I know, but basically I'm here for for the ride and support and encouragement.
Yeah, she's a great helpmate, no doubt. Yeah, great helpmate.
And a great mother. I'll throw that in there too. Yeah, wonderful example. Mrs. Patricia Hughes, would you please introduce yourself as well?
Good afternoon. It's wonderful to be here again. And like Michael said, we start seeing a lot of clients that were starting businesses and purchasing homes and vehicles. And we realized that there was a need in our community for some guidance when it came to saving and teaching them, basically sharing with them knowledge that we had gained over the years. And so being able to share with the community was something that we always desired. And going into community events and especially into our churches, and not necessarily just one church, but any church that, wishes us to come. We're always willing to speak and share. And it has been a wonderful ministry for us. We built our book of business with this, as well as, sharing with the community and especially making young people and new business owners aware of options that they have to save money and to continue to grow their businesses. So this has been a great experience for us, and we hope to be able to continue for years to come.
Great. Thank you so much. And Miss LaTanya Powers, will you introduce yourself and welcome, say some words of welcome?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Just hello to everyone watching. Hello to the panelists, and I'm just grateful for the opportunity and the invitation, to be a part of this discussion. Yeah, I don't work with Honey Bats, but I met Michael and Miss Ardella through another, channel, and we all just have the same vision, the same burden for our community, in the financial education, financial literacy of people who look like us, just making sure that we can share the experiences that we have to help, to better our community and to provide better financial opportunities, for people of color. Mm-hmm.
And finally, Mr. Ray Allister, go ahead and introduce yourself as well.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. I have known Mr. Vance since 2013 when God came and got me and told me to get my life together. And he was one of the first people I met when I got back into the church. And my wife and I just got married and needed a place to figure out how to move an overnight. So they were doing Life University. He was heading up the financial piece element. And we were walking through that hallway and said, well, I think we need that. So that's how I first got in there and met him. And he's been a mentor of mine since, and really just poured into my life, filled me with a lot of good advice and just always checked in on my dreams, what God's doing in my life. And so I'm just here to hopefully be able to share a little bit of my journey and to, just put in however I can.
Great, awesome. Well, once again, you've heard a little bit about each of the different panelists that are here today. I'm going to be moderating. Maybe I'll throw in a few, tips and things along the way, but I'm here to kind of allow them to really spread and share their wisdom. And so with that, I wanted to know if anyone just has like a burning, just like, listen, top thing. You can't like number one takeaway. If someone's just joining in or they start, maybe they're not going to make it the whole way through. Don't save it to the end. What's like the number one thing that you feel like someone needs to hear? I don't know if there's someone with a burning topic that they want to address, but if someone has that, I want to give that first opportunity to right now. Wow. Anyone has something? Great.
One of the things that I see a lot of is young people buying cars, and they select a car first thing, and then they realize, oh, I can't get the car off the lot without insurance. Well, they have not sat down and did a budget of, this is the car I want and this is how much I'm going to pay for it. And then the second thing is, oh, I got to have insurance. Sometimes when they get ready to buy, when they buy the car, then they realize, oh my God, I can't afford this because the insurance is higher than the car payment. And so one of the things that we try to encourage is sit down and do step by step. And then that you can either buy the car or you can't buy the car. Because when you get ready to get off that lot, you've got to have the insurance. And today, the premiums are so high in some instances based on, of course, their age, their driving record, their demographics, that they can't afford the car. And so one of the things that we also encourage is when you're really looking at your first car, try to save money and then start paying what you would pay for the car, maybe for the next 6 months. Put that into your savings, and then that you can afford that car and the insurance. Then proceed.
I think that's excellent. Yeah. That's an excellent thing to think about. Yes, that's perfect. Mom, I know you had stepped in there. So yes. I'm going to give you a chance.
So I wanted to make sure that I got in my one little tidbit before anybody took it away from me. So what I wanted to say is to make saving a priority. And my dad used to say that you should never spend all the money that you make. Make sure that you always save some. And one of the things that I realized as we were going through financial peace, that we had started making savings a priority. And one of the things that they had mentioned were the fact that you could have several different kinds of savings. You could have a savings for a trip. You could have savings for this. You could have, but when we first started out, there was one savings. Everything went into that one, and whatever needed to come out, it came out of that one little pot. The Lord has blessed us. Not so much that we are making a whole lot more than what we used to, but we have less expenses. Our children are taking care of themselves and they are out of the house. Your dad says we have the best kind of children in the world. They are grown and gone. Uh, uh, and he said we got a pay raise as a result of the fact that you all are gone. That's one of the things. And the other thing is that our house is paid for. So, we don't have that expense anymore. Our cars are paid for, so we don't have that expense. One of the things that I want to share with other people, if you're in a situation like us and you feel like because you've got a little bit more money and you've got a few less expenses, that means you can spend more. Well, it should also mean you can save more. There's always going to be a reason to save. Even if your house is paid for, there are repairs that need to be done. Even if your car is paid for, there are repairs on the car. And pretty soon,
Mm-hmm.
if you drive old cars like we do, they're going to need to be replaced. So there's still always a reason to save. The older you get, your health you may need to spend more on your health. So my suggestion is that if you make more or you feel like you make more, don't just spend more, but save more.
Yes.
That's
Love that. I would
power.
just add to all of those that none of this happens without a plan. I think that's one of the first things that we really need to consider when we're using our money is how we're going to do that. I know when we first started that process, you just kind of realize how much money slips through your fingers when you don't have a plan.
Mhm.
When you're just kind of going from day to day, buying a little here, spending a little there, dropping a little bit of this, a little that, And I know in my practice, what I always hear from people is, I don't feel like I made that much money. Yeah, well, you did. The problem is that you spent either most of it or more than what you earned. And that mostly happens because there's no actual plan about how to spend. So, like you said, part of that plan should be those necessities with your housing and your utilities and your food and things like that. Part of that plan does include, like she said, the savings, whether it's for your emergency fund or for your vacation or car, or whatever it is. But all of those things need to be a part of the plan. And that's how you find financial success, is by planning for it.
And I think just to kind of follow up on a number of those points, one of the things, if you're making a plan, you're talking about paying yourself, be honest with yourself. Like, you're not going to, a lot of people have like lofty ambitions about what they're going to do. And yes, I'm going to do, it's like, be honest. Like, maybe you have a problem with how you spend, or you're going to spend too much in this area, and being honest with yourself. I'm going to put my wife out there because she's not here to defend herself, and I'm not going to myself. My wife loves Amazon. I think we single-handedly keep it open here in Houston. And because we know that about ourselves, my wife knows if she sees money in the account, she knows, well, I could go spend Amazon. So we have a number of different accounts that we have. Because if she sees money in our regular checking account, she's like, oh, there's money available. Let me see what's on Amazon. But money comes in, we're moving it to different accounts. We have a number of different savings accounts, a number of different just sort of like holding this is for this. And that way we sort of keep money that's for our day-to-day either expenses, where you can go to the store, get gas or things like that in our checking account that we use. And we're not, we have a sort of a set amount of money that's going to these other places. And so that's part of like paying ourselves first, in terms of like savings, and we also have investment and things like that. But also trying, Amazon's gonna have to work harder for our money this month. But that's a part of us is being honest, because you were like, we were spending, too much money on Amazon, and now it's sort of, we have an amount, and we have an alert if we go above how much we're supposed to spend. But with us, that was something that we talked about. Hey, we need to do better with this. Okay, what can we do? and that was moving this money here or doing this. And so having an honest conversation with yourself, with your spouse, with your partner, so that person, who's going to, be able to help you navigate what you need to do. But it does require you to have some honesty about the situation, right? If you know that you're not good at this, maybe it's asking someone for help. Say, hey, can you help me figure out what I need to do better? And so, but there has to be a level of honesty. And I think if you don't have that, then you're not going to really tackle, if you're having issues, to really tackle those problems, right? And so I would say that's the first thing, is like, be honest with yourself. What are your struggles? What are the things that you have problems with, that you and figure out a practical way in order to help address those. So that's my big thing, is be honest with yourself. Don't lie to yourself.
So it sounds like to me that you not only had the honesty, but then, like Latanya said, you also made a plan, a realistic plan.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, definitely.
I think for me, I've had the privilege of having a wife that does a lot of the finances, and so my claim to fame is I work, and I work over the checks, and so, but we have a very similar approach to what you do, Michael Vance Jr. Do they call you Mikey, or is Junior, like, is there a nickname? Just
Michael James.
Michael James.
It's Michael James. Generally, like from the parents.
Gotcha. But so we have a very similar approach with making sure everything goes into a certain pot. But I almost started off by saying, for our demographic, but it really applies to everybody, is making sure that you're not paying attention to what others are doing more than what you can do. And I think, social media is such a big platform. Watching the highlights of other people, seeing what other people are doing, you can have that fear of missing out, or that feeling that you need to be involved in that, or I want to do that too. And that looks like fun. And those are the things that sometimes will put you kind of out of place. And if you can save for it, that's fine. But if you are going to go on vacation and come back to a bigger nightmare than than when you left, you have to really consider those things. So saving, even in itself, it's one thing. It's great to be able to save, but also, what are you saving for? Are your priorities right with what what do you really need? What are your needs? What things you need to check off? And so I know that was big for us, just making sure that we can really hunker down and live out the experience from the starting point that you're living. And so I know for our relationship, that coming to that agreement was really big, because it kind of freed us, and like, we got to live our experience. We got to go from where we are, not where anyone else is. This is our situation, and we got to live it based on where we are.
I see you sitting there in the back, Dad. Everyone else has spoken now, so this means that you have to chime in at this point.
I think the words that you were saying about being honest,
and if you could talk directly into the mic a little bit more. I know you're trying to do your Barry White, but you gotta come in closer.
So the ideal of being honest is can you hear me okay right now?
Sure.
This idea of being honest with yourself really resonated with me, because as you said that, in my mind, I was like, man, my son just really popping my bubble over here, because he's speaking directly to me. I hope he don't ask me to say something, and then here you go, would you say something specifically? And so my thing is, I am a man of faith. However, I no longer believe that if you name it or claim it, it's yours. All you need is a positive attitude. If you sow a seed, you're going to prosper. That's how I was living for a long time. And, there's reasons why your finances are messed up. There's reasons for me. And to be honest, a lot of those reasons are, we make bad financial decisions. We purchase things on impulse.
Yeah.
We spend money on things we can't afford. We haven't learned to be savers. We don't trust God to do what he said he's going to do. So if you ask me to be honest, one of the things that I have learned is God gave me a Proverbs 31 woman, and I'm trying to take full, total advantage of her gifts and abilities. And one thing I learned, and I'm gonna throw some game on young brothers. If you got a Proverbs 31 woman, don't mess around. You try to listen to her, pay attention to her.
Yeah.
Listen, God put you together for a reason. So I would like to say that being honest, the more that I lean on my wife, everything that I allow my wife to touch in my life turns to gold. It's when I try to go out there and do it on my own. And so it's a reason why we're together. So I would encourage married couples to sit down together and have shared goals. I mean, these are things you both shared budget. We both agree. Not I agree on, yeah, maybe I do, but both of you coming together and saying, we're going to do this together. And that has been where we win. Ardella and I win when we both come together and we're honest and we say we're going to do this together. So that would be my remarks, Michael. Don't ask me to again. Please,
why are you on the stream? Why are you on the stream if you don't want to be asked any questions?
Okay,
drop off and observe then. No, I reserve the right to call you out if I have to.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of people out on social media. They're talking a lot of stuff they ain't doing. They're just telling you stuff and they ain't doing it. I know this. I think I could do that too. I could be one of those people. But you just called me out. You was like, no, you can't be that. Nah. And so
how was it?
There's a lot of people out there, they're telling you to do this, to that, but they're not doing it. And so that's all I'm saying. And it's easy to do that. It's easy to say, do this and do that, handle this, handle that, spend here, spend there, but you're not doing it. So that's all I'm saying. So
yeah. So when you touched on something, Dad, when you initially started talking, you talked about although you're a man of faith, you said you no longer believe in this name it and claim it, this sow a seed and this is going to happen, right? It's not just this, I'm just going to do these things and God is going to bless, absent of a plan, absent of making wise financial decisions, right? And so I wonder from the panel if, and I know Ms. Hughes, you kind of touched on the idea of people buying cars and not considering the cost of those. Mm-hmm. There's other just financial situations that you've seen that people get tripped up on or don't think about